Hi, this is Tony, the host of the Flicks X-Rayed podcast. Each week, I am joined by guests.
Ew.
Hello.
Yo.
Why, hello there.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
And we have a roundtable discussion where we dig deep and X-ray a bunch of our favorite films, and some really terrible ones too. We really like to go back and take a look at films that may be forgotten, maybe in the past, and still lovable films. If you want, you can follow us on all the major platforms, iTunes, Google, Stitcher. If you want to find out more, you can find us online at www.flicksxrayed.com. And you can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram if you want to reach out to us. Good night, Internet.
Hey, this is Sal at Robber Barons Inc. Instead of listening to Pint O Comics, which is trash, you should head over to robberbaronsinc.com and check out our full selection of t-shirts and apparel.
Hi there, this is John from Pint O Comics.
This is the other John from Pint O Comics.
And we just wanted to warn you before you tune into our quite excellent show that we may or may not use, what type of term would you use for the language, John?
Swearing with flair.
Swearing with flair.
Colorful language.
Colorful language.
Or just plain out, I don't know.
Gutter talk.
Gutter talk, there we go.
You've been warned. Listen in. Well, you can't have a Pint O Comics without a pint before that. So every once in a while, we like to talk about things different than comic books and movies and all that stuff. And with pint in the name, I think one of the things we like to talk about is beer. Every once in a while, you hear us talk about what beer we're drinking that night, and what better to have, John? John, what do we have going on tonight? Because we got a big thing going on. What is it? November 17th, I believe. Saturday the 17th.
Not that you believe. It actually is November 17th.
Yes. No, I wanted to. I throw that I believe in there in case I'm wrong. Someone can correct me and I can edit it out. But it was correct.
It is.
November 17th at College Street Music Hall down in New Haven, the Elm City. We've got a special guest tonight, John. Yeah. We've got Chris Verrilli, who is Chris, what exactly are you in comparison to Elm City Brew Festival?
That's still up for debate. We don't know.
So you don't have an official title?
No. Well, my official title would probably be director of food and beverage for College Street Music Hall or New Haven Center for Performing Arts.
Oh, okay. So
it's New Haven Center for Performing Arts is the owner-operator, the not-for-profit owner-operator of the venue. So basically, I guess I work for them.
All right.
I want to say real quick before we get too deep into Elm City Brew Festival, people that maybe don't know College Street Music Hall, it is an awesome venue.
Thank you. We try. We do.
What, like about 5 or 6 years old, maybe?
It was opened up in 2015.
Okay, so about 3 years. Me and Lou, first time I ever went, me and Lou here, sitting here typing away, if you hear that typing, went and saw the band Ghost. I think maybe the first year.
Those were both shows, both Ghost shows.
We were at the first one, did not go to the second one.
The second one was just as good as the first.
A little anecdote me and Lou were just talking about before the show is me and Lou saw Ghost open for Mastodon at the Oakdale here in Wallingford, Connecticut.
Right.
And it was the first time we'd ever seen Ghost, and this is a band, if you don't know Ghost, very theatrical, very Vincent Price meets heavy metal.
That's a good way to put it.
The lead singer comes out, and everybody, it's like a funeral procession. He comes out, he's got one of those what is it?
A thurifer.
Thurifer, the smoke, the Pope smoke.
That was good.
That's what we keep Lou around for. He's got the word. Lead singer comes out.
Words.
They do this. Yeah, he's the walking dictionary and/or encyclopedia. He comes out. He does this whole entrance, and he's dressed like a kind of an evil pope. And as he comes out to the crowd,
the anti-pope, I believe.
Yeah, he's
the exact title.
He is. He's the anti-pope, and they have a great gimmick too. Basically, the lead singer, and every time they put out a new album, he has a new persona. So he changes over from Pope Emeritus the First to Emeritus the Second. Now he's Cardinal Copia. They do a bunch of really cool stuff. 3. He's on 3 so far.
And you never know who's in his band when he's playing.
That's right.
He could be anybody.
They all wear masks, and that was actually a thing. He got sued a couple years ago. Turns out he's a Swedish musician named Tobias Forge, which until that point nobody knew.
Tobias Funke.
yeah, Tobias Funke, what is that, an alrapist? So he comes out and he does this great entrance at the Oakdale. And before they even start, I think they play the first song. And when they're done with the first song, everybody's cheering for this band nobody's ever really heard of. And in this very Bela Lugosi voice, he says, "Good evening, Wallingford." So you flash forward like about 3 years later, and me and Lou see he's playing College Street, and we go. We're like, that fucking Ghost band, man. And we'd already listened to a couple albums. Let's go. We go check out Ghost. And about halfway through the show, in between songs, he's doing a little bit of banter, and he goes, "This is our second time playing for you in the state of Connecticut. Is there anybody here from Wallingford?" and me and Lou and about 7 other people in the audience are going fucking crazy. And I wanted to point out, too, so that was a great show. The only other show that I've seen at College Street Music Hall is maybe the best show I've seen in many years. I saw the Flaming Lips there last year.
Yeah, Flaming Lips are always fun.
Were you there?
Yes, I was.
That show was fucking
that's right. You were raving
bonkers.
about
That was,
Yeah.
I came back from that show, like, transformed.
That sound system for the size of that venue is just unbelievable. I mean, when you hit the sweet spot and you know where, it's just so clear, crystal clear. It's crazy.
I went to that show by my wife was supposed to come with me. She got sick. Last minute. I literally was like, okay, don't go or go. Flaming Lips, you don't know how much they're going to come around to somewhere like Connecticut, which is the answer with everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck it, I went. And I'll be honest with you, I'd never gone to a concert by myself. I made a bunch of, I had a little family. They were all like sitting next to me. "Hey, how you doing, man?" I'm like, "Yeah, I have an extra seat here if you want to lean in." You can. And the show was fucking bonkers. That place is so awesome.
Thank you. We tried.
So I want to, if you're involved with that.
Upper deck, or were you?
I was up straight across from the stage, but like I think one level up.
Okay.
And it was perfect. That show started. I think I've maybe shown you guys the YouTube video before. It started with them just there was an explosion of like glitter and balloons, and all of a sudden beach balls came out everywhere, and there was a giant balloon that lasted almost throughout the whole show. That said, it was like put together words. "Fuck yeah, New Haven." And as the show went on, you just saw it become like "uck, yeah, ooh, Haven," and then it was Haven. So letters would get popped slowly, but they just flipped around. So before we get into your thing, man, you have a great venue.
Thank you.
And so before we get too much into getting into what your show's all about, John's been to your show multiple times.
It's all about the beer, man.
It's all about the beer, man.
Well, that's funny you should say that. It's a good point, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
People really started really busting my chops about, you got to get better bands and this, that, and everything else. It's not about the bands. It's about the
I
beer.
didn't even know bands were there, to be honest with you.
They're supposed to be background, And as a matter of fact, a lot of the breweries say, we don't want us to be anywhere near the speakers because we want to talk about our beer. It's their time to shine. Give them their moment.
Yeah, if you want to go to a festival, go to Lollapalooza. If you want to go to a beer fest, go to one of the few beer fests that that exists.
Because actually, what you're there for is to learn about the beer.
Right. And all the beer fests that we've been doing. I mean, myself and a group of other friends, that we go to a lot of the beer fests in the area. And the first year that the Elm City came up, we were all looking at each other like, okay, how's that going to work inside? And are they going to? Where are they going to do it? Are they going to do it upstairs? I don't understand it. And when we walked into the place, and we were really kind of floored by it, because
thank you.
It's just it's where all the seating is for the lower area, or when the seats aren't there.
Right.
It's just each deck has got all the tables set up.
It works.
And it works. Yeah.
The crowd is just unbelievably cool. I remember the first year I did it, didn't know what to expect. A lot of people were saying, "This is not going to bomb." I'm like, just trust me. It's going to work. I've wanted to do this forever. And boy, did I make a lot of people eat their words, which was nice.
And we came back. This is going to be the fourth year.
Fourth year this year.
And this will be the fourth year that we've done it, because each year it's been good each and every year. I mean, it's exactly what we're looking for. The improvements that happen every year are noticeable if you've been every year.
Thank you. Yeah, it gets easier as the years go on. Well, I don't know about easier, but you know what you're doing more and more every year.
That probably helps. Plus the lighting. The lighting helps.
Yes,
the
lighting. The sound, the volume of the background music, if you will.
Yeah.
So how did you? Okay, so you work for the nonprofit organization.
Correct.
How did you get involved with or start the idea of the New Haven Brewing Festival?
Well, I used to work at a restaurant in Torrington, and I wanted to do one because it was close to the Warner Theater, so I wanted to do one down there. For years and years, I was trying to put something together. I ended up doing one for helping out organize one for the DoubleTree in Bristol.
Okay, yeah.
And it was a small one, so I got my feet wet there, and then I got the itch. I said, I want to make this thing huge. When I found out that I was going to be involved with College Street, I said, perfect. So I went to my bosses. I want to do a brew fest. I want to do a brew fest. I want to do a brew fest. And it worked out great because it is a charity. It's for a charity. It's a charitable. All the contributions, 100% of the proceeds go to the New Haven Center for Performing Arts. So it's helping out the arts. Exactly what we're about.
Beer for arts.
There you go. Yeah.
and I just it's 60 breweries. I get to try the new brews out and everybody else. And what's nice about it is all the breweries every year, it's like the one that they look forward to doing from what they tell me.
Cool.
Because there's not many in November.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
All the breweries that have, all the brew fests that have been going on in summertime. So we're like one of the last ones and everything's down and they really enjoy it and they bring really good special beers.
Well, that's the other thing too, is because a lot of them are in the summertime, they don't bring a lot of the dark beers that I like.
Yes,
so
dark
so
beer
fall time, dark beer. You get people brewing special brews for your show, basically.
sometimes.
Yeah, there's they things that you can't get around here,
right.
like brewery release only, stuff like that.
They'll do what they'll say a lot of times when we get to the table is like we're debuting it here,
right?
So it's your first time getting it anywhere, and you're like, oh well, you better give me one then.
Well, I feel honestly, I feel like pretty honored and that they take it that serious. It's like their time to really showcase what they have, which
Definitely.
is cool.
I mean, every year you set this thing up. I'm assuming, even though it's in November every year, correct? You have it in November every year.
It's third week. It's the week. It's the weekend before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Every year.
Every year.
Is that right?
Except for you're right. Well, you got me because John, last year it was a week earlier because they booked a big show that they couldn't get. They couldn't pass up. And I don't remember what show.
They couldn't say no to Nickelback.
Something like that.
Nickelback came in and in their contract said, "Fuck this brew fest."
The brew fest goes.
Yeah, the brew fest goes.
It was the Shields and Yarnell reunion tour.
And everybody that has anything to do with Brewfest looking, hey, what about us?
I do remember the first year being very cold, though.
Yes.
that was a lot of fun waiting outside in the cold, and we're like, there were two lines. You had the VIP line, then you had the regular people, and those
regular folk.
Those poor suckers had to stay out there for an extra hour. We're like, see you later.
You do this in November of every year, and I'm assuming you're working on it pretty much throughout the rest of the year. Like, I'm assuming you start early. We talk about this on the show quite a bit. There's no other word to use except for explosion of small breweries opening up in Connecticut. I think I was reading on your site today. I think we're up to 60 plus at this point in Connecticut.
Yeah, 60
of these small
brewers.
little microbrews that are. So, I mean, how many new ones do you see that want to be a part of this every year that you haven't from year one to now that didn't exist year one, didn't exist year two, then they existed, and then they blah blah blah.
That's a great question because I was just looking at them. I'm going through the list of emails that I get. And I don't want to miss anybody, It's
right.
like right now, it's like dotting my I's and crossing my T's, making sure every year there's that one that slips by me. I'm like, oh yeah, your table is right over. But it's right now. It's amazing how many have popped up. When we put it together, what we try to do is we try to showcase the Connecticut's, obviously, because that's where we're from.
Right.
I give them their own little section, and they have their little right when you walk in on the left hand side.
But that's the impressive thing is that I was reading today is not just how many, but you're not just that's I think that something I want to put out there is that this isn't a Connecticut only brewer fest.
No, it's not.
I was reading your list really quickly today, and I saw one from Texas.
Yes, that Shinerbach from Texas is involved.
They're always around.
We're just about to update the list, which will be updated in the next day or two of all the breweries that have confirmed since the first initial announcement of it. So now I think we'll be past 50 again this year.
Now,
Wow.
Are you gonna in I don't remember if it was last year, but definitely in earlier years, you had separated some of the sours or the ciders.
Ciders were upstairs. Ciders and imports like Belgians.
Yeah, Belgians. That's what it was.
Belgians
Right.
and sours were and ciders were upstairs.
Right.
Sours, it's a whole different thing. Yeah. Now this year there's probably going to be a lot more sours.
Yeah.
I never gave up on sours.
The sours are upstairs?
No, the sours will be all over the place.
I was going to say, I'm going to be upstairs.
No, the Belgians, you could have a Belgian sour.
Yeah.
But the Belgian beers, like our friend Justin, who's a big lover of Belgian beers, and he went the first year. I think we lost him for over an hour because he was upstairs.
He didn't have to go anywhere else.
No, he didn't care about the ciders. It's just the Belgians. He's like, the Belgians are up here.
So how does it work with Chris, with people who want to go to this, in terms of ticketing, pricing, and what they get along with that? How does it? Do they have to go in, pay a certain price, and then buy beers from everybody? Is it a go in and drink all you can all day long? And I want to throw this out there before we even get into it.
Not that I'm condoning alcohol.
all day. You know, I wouldn't be sitting here.
This is why I want to point this out before we go even any further. Please remember to get an Uber.
Yes,
get a taxi. If you plan on doing this, we're already planning on getting Ubers and getting taxis and doing the whole 9 yards.
Our Uber driver last year, well, the two we had, the one in the morning was great. The one in the evening was even better because he just had no idea what we were doing. He's like, "You want to go where?"
You'll find out when you pick us up.
So people could go and check out tickets. How are your ticket price? No, as John said, there's a VIP class and then there's those other guys.
Well, the VIP gets you in an hour earlier. So doors for VIP is at 12 o'clock instead of the 1 o'clock, and it's 12 to 4 for VIP and 1 to 4 for general admission.
Okay.
And there is a designated driver ticket available. Even more enforced. Please don't go out there and drink and drive because there's no reason for that.
So the designated driver gets like a special wristband.
They get a
Everybody
special
knows not to serve them.
Right. They walk around, and everybody says to me, which I probably shouldn't say, but like, well, what if they just take it off? I said, well, maybe this year we'll have to wristband everybody.
There you go. Yeah.
And the designated drivers don't get wristbanded. You know what I mean? Because that is a thing. It's done for a reason. You would hope that nobody would take advantage of it, but you know what? You don't want those designated drivers drinking. So it's kind of hard not to. I like your idea of the Uber and pay the regular ticket price.
It worked out so well for us last year, and because we'll stay in New Haven for a while. We'll stop off next door to the Owl Bar,
and
then we'll. We go to a couple other places.
Probably.
Cask, yeah, we did that one year. Cask Republic. I forget what year it was. We were walking around town, and there was the liquor store right near the Cask Republic was doing a wine tasting.
Oh, jeez.
So I got lost for a little while. They're all outside looking for me, and I'm in there having the wine tasting.
2 years ago during your show. Last year I wanted to go. I couldn't because I had to work. 2 years ago. I think it was when we first started doing this show here, and I wasn't really familiar. Didn't go. I think I worked that day, and then
were working. Yeah.
I come home, and I'll never forget it. I'm playing video games. My wife's sitting here with me, and John starts texting me and going, "Me, Brian, Justin are coming over your house."
Oh yeah.
I'm like, all right, come hang out. I figure we'll play some games or something. We've had game nights here. And then I just start getting all these texts, and I'm like, they are fucking schlaming. They're in an Uber, and they're going to have this Uber driver drop them off here. They're 19 beers deep. And I'm telling my wife, I'm like, we might want to order like 2 pizzas instead of 1 because I think John and Brian and Justin are going to come here and start barfing all over our floors.
Well, at least they didn't do it in the Uber. The Uber driver gets paid extra $40 for that, right?
He was a happy man. I'll say that. But the problem was we lost one person.
You didn't show up. You didn't show up. I actually remember about an hour later her going, "Where are they?" I'm like, "I think that they went home."
Yeah, no, there was no way because I think one of us was passed out in the front seat of that Uber.
This year, I had a lot of people coming to me. They wanted to do bourbons too. A lot of bourbon manufacturers, and I said no.
You gotta. It's a beer fest.
This is a beer fest.
If you start mixing that,
correct. That's adding to nothing but a drunk fest, and then you're making it into a drunk fest. And it's not about that. It's about you actually enjoying the beer, tasting it. But with that price, to get back to your question, with that price, you get a taster cup, and you go to town, have fun. Yeah. Have fun.
That is awesome.
And, it's ounce and a half pour by every brewery, which I don't think any one of them follows.
Now I just want to tell everybody at home.
I just want to say this, though. A few years ago, Old Burnside had their own brew fest, and they ended that quite a while ago. And they gave out, the first couple of years, 12-ounce glasses.
Oh, jeez.
Now, of course, everyone was only supposed to pour so much into the glass. But the first year... It was such a crappy weekend, so not a lot of people showed up. The guys were trying to get rid of the beer, so they're just filling up the 12-ounce glasses with everything. I don't remember getting out of there.
Those type of things. I mean, generally, I don't want to get into the ease of drinking when it's that kind of situation. But when Old Burnside does their regular Saturday afternoon thing. I don't know if you've ever been there or not.
Any of these breweries
that
do that.
$10, they give you a small cup, and you think, well, a small cup, I can't drink that much.
Oh, yes, you can.
Oh, yes, you can. We've proven it a couple times.
I still have leftover tickets from the last time we were up. But it's good times. I mean, you get so many breweries that are there.
Yeah.
Do you have a particular favorite from the state?
I wanted to
never
ask.
answer that question.
Come on.
Are you kidding me?
I wanted to ask that too, but I was like, he's never going to say it.
I'll just... All right, let's put it this way. Favorite style of beer?
Favorite style of beer? Well, right now, for the last 4 years, I've been into the sours. Before the sours were cool.
Yeah.
It was all about the sours for me. The old restaurant that I used to be the general manager of, and I always take care of the beer program no matter where I'm at because I just have one of those narcissistic attitudes, I guess. I don't know. But I just can't let it go. I can't release it. And so I put the first sour I ever put on was Monk's Cafe, the Flemish sour. A true sour.
Never heard of it.
Flemish sours are.
Well, it's
That's where you need to start.
it's a Belgian sour. Yeah. It's a true sour, and all my bartenders laughed at me. And what are you doing? And all the customers, $10 for a beer, you're out of your mind, and all this crazy stuff. I said, just wait, and here we are.
Yep.
4 years later, you can't have enough on. It's just amazing how they just took off.
I enjoy beer, and I'm not a dark guy. I'm not an IPA guy either.
IPAs, I'm just kind of getting.
It seems like
over them.
And especially when it's the one I could deal with some of them, but when you get the ones where, and I get it, it's everything is for everybody, somebody out there. But when it feels like you're chewing on hops, that's not my bag.
Triple IPAs aren't for you?
No,
I call those the IPA milkshakes.
Yeah, they're actually when I went to local beverage mart to get us some beers tonight before the show. And there was one, I don't remember what company it was. It was called an IPA milkshake. Yeah. Actually, that was on the glass, or on the can. IPA milkshake.
See, they're stealing your name.
Someone out there has already thought of it.
Yeah. But that's what I call the 120. It's like chewing a beer.
Yeah,
it's basically chewing.
Yeah, but I think I found that the one that I tend to like the most are the sours.
Yeah.
You really dove into them.
I really got into them at the Old Burnside with their cherry Weiss. Was it that what it was called?
Yeah, the cherry Weiss.
Really good.
Jesus, and then these we're drinking now. I don't want to. So Two Roads. I fell in love this summer. We record a lot on Friday nights, and one night I went in to pick some beer up, and I got the Persian Lime Goes. And I swear this is
that, you moron.
You brought it. Well, whatever. That's my jam right there. And so tonight,
that was the night that the liquor store was trying to get me loaded before I came here.
Yeah,
they had every sampler at the place, and they had the two roads guy with the two different sours out of the truckload series.
That's right, you did bring it.
And the Persian Lime, I was like, I gotta get this, and I got the last 4-pack in the cooler.
And now it's like I think that's just like a run. They run that all the time.
Oh yeah, they're doing that. There's a passion fruit one which was pretty good, and then tonight I picked up the Plum Goes, which I'm actually liking quite a bit. It's made ale brewed with Italian plums. That just makes me laugh every single time.
I wouldn't know that, boss. I'm not drinking them. So.
Italian plums.
Italian plums.
What are you trying to say there, Johnny?
I don't know.
I wouldn't know what it tastes like. But no, Two Roads. To get back to Two Roads, it was in both Space and College Street, in the smoking area of College Street, the fence. There's graffiti on there, and that was done by the woman who won the award for the best artist, and she does all of Two Roads art.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like graffiti art. Have you?
I haven't met her yet, but I talked to her.
She's just an amazing.
I've been to Two Roads once.
Yeah, she's an amazing artist. No, it's actually in our spots. It's in our places. She did the.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she did the graffiti walls, the fence in both places.
Oh, okay.
So it's something to check out when you go to College Street. If you do go to the Brew Fest, check out the smoking area.
Oh no, I'm there. I'm there, man.
Fence. She incorporated the dragon that's up on the ceiling and incorporated that into the design of her graffiti that goes around the fence. It's just amazing.
Awesome.
Incredible job.
So why don't you give out now? So we're talking about Two Roads, and it would only be fair if maybe you gave out a couple more names of local breweries that are going to be there. I know you have the list coming out.
We have Nebco, who always does. I mean, that's my buddy Marty is with New England Brewing Company. Him and I have had since day one, since I've been in the industry. Him and I have been friends, and he's Mr. Beer.
Yeah,
Marty's Mr. Beer. Everybody knows Marty in the beer industry, and he actually is going to be there this year again. And they always do the Fuzzy Baby Ducks. They always bring something special down.
That's where that comes from.
Yeah, you didn't know that.
We have a guy in our fantasy football league called Fuzzy Baby Ducks.
Yeah,
I just thought it was. I thought it was amazingly cute. But
you know what? That is to me that is the. Not saying it's my, because I'm not going to tell you who my favorite is, but that is a good rendition of an IPA in my opinion. It's not over the top hoppy. It's easy drinking.
It's popular.
It's for a reason. You know, for a really good reason.
See,
it's a solid beer.
you know the good part about this, Chris, is that for all the people out there listening, you can't say your favorite app, but after when we're not recording, you're going to tell us.
Of course,
We won't tell. We won't tell anybody. We always love that. We get the dirt afterwards and just keep it to ourselves. But yeah, there's got to be a favorite. But so out of state, who else do you have coming from out of state besides Texas?
Well, we have Allagash has been confirmed. We have 21st Amendment, which is a new brewery out there. Came out in the last couple of years. I guess, got introduced to Connecticut in the last couple of years. It's been a brewery for a while, but all the breweries now are starting to expand and expand on their territories, and they're all coming into the areas. And we have Lagunitas that will be there. You know about Shinerbach's going to be there.
Founders.
Founders will be there.
Yes.
Founders actually will be, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Founders said they will be there, but they don't have a representative, so I have to have a representative in that.
Gotcha.
And that's somebody that, and when they tell us that, we take it very serious when we put this on, because it is about the beer. So the person that's going to be watching that table is going to know the beer before they go, because what is that? I don't know, I'm just pouring, Nothing worse than that. Okay, then fill her up. And that's when we become a drunk fest.
What's this brewed with? I don't know.
Just drink it.
Fucking raspberries. Just drink it.
Just drink it.
You want it out of the bottle or the can? Which one do you want?
Hey, can you watch the tap? I got to go to the bathroom.
That's funny though, because the first year that it happened, and I knew it because of the smaller one that I had put on, I knew how it worked. So I had volunteers that were helping me. The breweries at the end, when it gets to the witching hour at the end of it, they want to get out. So they're like, yo, Chris, do you mind, we're going to leave our table. Do you mind picking it up? And I'm like, no, I got it. Don't worry. No problem at all. No problem at all. Guys, got it. Take care. Right? And because I knew it was coming. And nobody else helped. And I didn't complain one little bit. Every volunteer left. And I left. I had a pickup truck. I left with probably 65 cases of beer in the back of my truck. I had so much of it.
I think John has a new best friend.
Want some help?
It's not unheard of, because it's happened to me a few times. Like, as you're walking out the door, they're like, "Here, take this. You want this? Take it." Not at your place.
Exactly. Of course not. Not necessarily at your place.
But it's happened at festivals before.
All right. So I guess here's a fair question. So as we're sitting here, I got a stack of books that are comp copies for stuff for us to review. So you being you don't have a title. I think I'm just gonna call you like captain of Elm City Brew Fest, right? Does that work?
I'll work.
You're
Captain
Captain
Brew
Fest.
Captain Brew Fest, right?
Captain Brew Fest.
I think you deserve the title.
Thank you.
So, I just got to ask. So you get these emails from these companies, these breweries that want to come down and be part of your thing. Do you get invites to come down and sample their stuff all the time? Or?
Oh, my goodness. My job, but there's got to be people in line for my job, because I have been to Chico, California, and saw Sierra Nevada firsthand, all expense paid by the graces of Sierra Nevada.
Wow.
To the point where I got off the plane in Chico, in San Francisco, and we stopped off. I had been up all night, and we stopped off at a gas station because they had to fill up the big fully loaded van. So cart us around, and I got out and I went to go get a couple Red Bulls. And the guy, the representative, the brewery rep's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm buying some Red Bull." He goes, "No, you're not." I said, "What? Are you going to tell me what I'm going to drink in this?" I said, "No, this is not going to work. I'm going to get back on the plane." He goes, "No, it's all on us. Everything's on us. Just put it up on the counter." And at the time I smoked, he said, "The only thing I don't buy is your cigarettes." I said, "Fair enough."
Wow.
So I did that.
You're looking for an assistant.
Right. And then I did Brewfest. Beer camp. I did beer camp in Asheville. I was the first first beer camp that they opened up outside of the brewery. And we did a beer called Mango Libre. I brewed a beer with our camp members called Mango Libre, which was a double IPA brewed with mangoes. Huh. As you know, it wasn't my idea to do it. But, we go with what you have.
All those mangoes.
But, so that was exclusively at the brewery only, and exclusively for the beer camp. people that were participating in the beer camp. We got each person that was there I think we got 4 half barrels of it. So.
Wait, what? So I'm not. What's a beer camp?
Beer camp.
Yeah.
Beer camp is something that Sierra Nevada does, where they invite a certain amount of people down, and you go into their pilot brewery, which is probably better than any brewery that you've ever seen in your life. You know, this is not their main brewery. This is their pilot. And you brew a beer, and they call it Beer Camp Series. And you and 10 to 15 other people, from concept to actual brewing process, do the whole thing 4 days, and you just sit there and just, it's the best.
This is like when Kramer. Remember in Seinfeld when Kramer went to Yankees fantasy camp and he punched Joe. Who did he punch? Mickey Mantle in the mouth. This is like John. Right now he's actually not talking because he's sitting here with stars in his eyes, dreaming.
I'm thinking.
Dreaming about how he could live in beer camp for the rest of his life.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then that beer camp actually was the I saw the drive-by truckers in the amphitheater, because that was the first show at the amphitheater in their new brewery in Asheville, which is not a brewery. It's Disney World for adults. It's crazy the money they sunk into that place. It's nuts. You know, so that's where the new beer, that's where the whole industry is down in that area, North Carolina, Asheville area. Well, you got the Funkatorium down there, which is now owned by InBev.
Yeah.
InBev is the company that owns Budweiser, Budweiser.
Yeah,
They've been buying.
I kind of like how you two, the real serious beer guys here,
What?
when
I didn't say nothing.
InBev gets mentioned, it's almost like we just mentioned Darth Vader. It's like someone said the Emperor around the rebels, and everybody's like, oh god.
What was it? Harry Potter? Well, the bad guy in Harry Potter. You never knew his name.
Yeah.
Nobody would say it. Yeah. That place. That company.
That company. I had a friend of mine. His stepson's aunt worked for Walmart, and I heard him one time refer to Target as the Red Store, right? And he was like 7 or 8. Target, the commercial came on, and he was like, "Oh, something about the Red Store," and I said, What the fuck is the Red Store? And he goes, that's what they call it. I go, who? And he's like, Aunt whatever. She works at Walmart. So at Walmart,
they won't say Target.
They won't say Target. They say the Red Store.
That's funny.
He who shall not be named.
Well, InBev is a bunch of Belgians, you know. What are you going to say about the Belgians?
Yeah, well, hey.
There's a whole Monty Python skit about that.
It's wafer thin.
Oh, by the way, I mean, this is completely off topic, but you mentioned that. Monty Python's Flying Circus is on Netflix now. The whole thing. Yeah. So if you have Netflix and you haven't checked it out, I've been watching those.
Including the German episodes, if you want to see those.
What's that?
Including the German episodes.
They got the whole thing.
The German episodes.
The Germans. So, Chris, man, you seem to be leading kind of a charmed life, man. I mean,
music, beer, and
music, beer,
and music.
Now, we're not going to hold you to this, but whenever we deal with a lot of people that do a lot of cons, comic book cons, toy cons, stuff like that.
Right.
Your one-day thing now. Is there ever the idea of making this a couple of days, a weekend event? Making it a longer day. I mean, obviously,
I don't think my liver could take that.
I could see where the constraints of it being alcohol fueled can be tough, but I could see where people that couldn't get there on a Saturday could get there on a Sunday. Is that ever a thought process?
It's been bounced back and forth. It was talked about doing 2 sittings, doing an early sitting and a later sitting when we were sending people away, because the idea is, I mean, it is the only charitable event that we do for New Haven Center for Performing Arts. So why not get as much as you can for the arts? You know what I mean? So it's so we talked about that. We talked about opening it up to like maybe do the bourbons after the beer, and and then maybe do something with the food and stuff. You get to a point where you don't want it to be corny. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't want it to be cliche, and you don't want it to look like you're taking advantage of. You know what I mean? They're just like trying to make something that's not there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Brewfest, it was really like hit or miss. hey, let's try it. Always wanted to do one. You know what? This could be fun. Everybody telling me, you'll be lucky if you have 3 people there. And then I was so happy to give those people those comp tickets and say, come to my brew fest. Be one of 3 people. I'm sorry, one of 900 people.
Well, that's you just mentioned, and we talked about this off the air. You mentioned a second ago turning people away. You had to turn away how many people in your first year?
About 150, 200.
You were at capacity. The fire marshal was getting nervous.
Yeah. Well, you have to remember, College Street sits about at full capacity, about 2,000, 2,100, somewhere in that area. Don't hold me to those exact numbers.
No, we're going to hold you to it. I'm going to look it up right now. I want to know the capacity. I want to know the capacity of College Street Music Hall.
Shit, I'm screwed. Sorry, boss. Standing general admission downstairs and sitting upstairs, I think its cap is 2,000. And then I believe it's 1,800 for seated shows upstairs and downstairs.
Okay.
Or 1,500 for seated upstairs and downstairs.
Okay.
So.
The venue features multi-capacity configurations for up to 2,000 patrons.
Yes, I keep my job. I keep my job for another week until I piss them off some other way.
It seems bigger than that. I don't know.
No, he said 1,800. He was very correct. He was very correct.
So, but we put 60. There's 60 tables in there because you have breweries in there. So now you have the brewery representatives, which start you off with over 50 breweries. You probably have 350 people with volunteers and everything before the doors even open up. And then you have the tables that take up a lot of space. So the first year, it was brought to my attention that it was my gig. Okay, so how many people you want? I'm like, I have no idea. How many people? Right, exactly. It was do it until. So we picked a number of 800, and then we saw that 800 was okay. So we said, okay, we'll keep the door open for a little while longer. And then we had to cut it, man. Wow. I felt bad. It was one of those things where I was like,
it happens, but at least you.
I felt good, but bad.
You were able to gauge. Mm-hmm. So basically, you were sleeping one night, and all of a sudden you heard, if you build it,
they will come. Exactly.
Wait till I tell Brian that people were getting turned away at the door.
Yeah. Well, that was the first year. Second year, we were a little bit more organized. First year, we have 2 huge 1,000-pound ice machines, right? 2,000 pounds of ice. What could possibly? How much more ice could you possibly need other than 2,000 pounds?
3,000 pounds.
Especially about close to 4,000 pounds because we're going around with buckets to all the local restaurants saying, "Please fill us up." It was
and when you think about it, it was cold. I think at least freezing cold.
Yeah. I was actually because I remember how are people keeping their beer cold?
It got so warm in there. I remember the smoking area door was open and it was propped open.
Yeah.
We went out there a couple times just to cool off. It was so damn hot in there. It was just so many people and everything that's going on. And
I think that was the year that it was so cold that wasn't the year that they canceled Halloween because it was
probably
I think it was that year. Yeah, it was. I remember it being freezing cold.
It was
seeing the people out there.
Did I hear something that this is off topic? Did I hear something that they're talking about changing Halloween?
Yeah, last Saturday of October.
What the fuck are we doing in this world?
Yeah, right. It's 31st.
It's the 31st, man.
My kids were up late last night trick or treating. I didn't care they or Wednesday night trick or treating. I didn't care that they were freaking.
It's one day a year.
Thank you.
It's one day a year. We're getting so fucking beaten into a pulp in this country in terms of you don't agree with that, right? With changing the date on it?
I think it's a good idea.
Really? Wow. All right, you don't have a microphone, so we're not talking to you.
Well, you're just asking for trouble. You're making it a Saturday night every year, Saturday night. There could be, nowadays, well, I don't know, as I get older, probably later, but it was done. The lights were shut off by 8 o'clock this year.
I think when I was a kid, I was in by 8:15. I wasn't, I don't know.
It always seemed like it was longer than it actually is.
Yeah. I remember being like either in my house or in my friend's house, dumping our shit out and going, this is what I want, this is what I don't want.
Here, do you want my Zag Nut?
The Whoppers, always give away the Whoppers.
The Whoppers have a horrible mouthfeel.
Don't they? Exactly. It's about the texture.
You bite into it.
I'll take them. I'll take them.
You're getting that chocolate.
You can have my Clark bar. I'll take the Whoppers.
I call the Whoppers the milk dud wannabes.
Yeah, it's like oh, there's a nice little there's some chocolate and now it's a fucking dust mite in my mouth.
Right.
We used to fight over them in our house.
Oh God.
My brother would buy one of the big quart
the milk
boxes.
Crates, the milk box of them. Yeah.
And he'd have to hide them because my sister and I would go hunting them down and steal them.
The only candy that we always had omnipresently in my house when I was a kid was my father always bought one of those things like you'd see in a bowling alley, the giant thing of Fireballs.
Oh, yeah.
We were eating everybody in my house was eating a fucking Fireball at all times because my dad bought one of these things at a BJ's and we was like, yeah, have a Fireball. My friends are coming over. I'm going, just grab like fucking 20 Fireballs before you go home.
The question for the Fireballs, did you keep it in the entire time or did you have to give your mouth a break?
No, I'm a spicy guy. I straight through.
Nice.
Straight through. I'll tell you what's hotter than Fireballs, though. I love like cinnamon candy.
Right.
I love hot tamales.
Yes.
They came out with super hot tamales a few years ago. Those fuckers will strip your tongue straight down. Those things are hot, man. Super hot tamales, yeah.
What bodega are you finding those in?
Five Below, one of those places.
Five Below. Wow,
Yeah. Oh, Five Below. It's like a little $5 and under shop. And they're all around now. And in the front, it's just like a candy. Like if you're ever gonna go to the movies,
we still have the remnants of a Ben Franklin in Portland.
Yeah, you live in Portland, man. You guys are.
That's fucking inflation. Yeah. Five and what was that called?
Five and what is it called? Five and under.
Five Below.
Five Below.
Five Below. It used to be the Dollar Tree or something. That was Five Below. Without inflation.
Yeah. Well,
how much is this? $1.
We were talking about Walmart and Target a minute ago. John still has a Woolworths on Main Street.
That was my first job.
You can get an egg cream while you're getting your denim pants for school.
I make a mean egg cream.
I tried an egg cream. I tried an egg cream one time. I was in Vermont. And me and my wife went to Vermont, and we went to this. We were walking around in Stowe, and there was this old timey like shop, like one of those places. I'm like, I've always wanted a fucking egg cream. I've never had one. So like the guy's like, wearing the fucking paper hat and everything. I look like Marty McFly and I'm like, you know what? I'll have an egg cream.
Egg cream coming up,
coming right up there, son. And he sprays some seltzer in a glass. He does this. There's chocolate syrup in it. I took one sip and I went, this is not for me.
Yeah. Not my favorite thing, but everybody tells me I make a good one. So.
Well, I would think if you were in New York in 1950, someone...
Well, there was the restaurant, one of the first restaurants I ever worked at was the guy who owned it was from the Bronx, and, it was all about the egg creams. He grew up in the 50s with the egg creams, and so he brought it here, and that was one of the signature things at the restaurant that I worked at.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to... maybe sometime if I can get you to make me one, maybe it'll change my mind.
No, it will not. It's still the same thing that you're not going to like.
It's like a Yoo-Hoo with seltzer.
Yes, exactly.
It's fucking weird.
Good. Yeah, good analogy.
Because Yoo-Hoo is just the worst.
Yeah, I don't drink Yoo-Hoo.
Yoo-Hoo, the two childhood drinks that just exemplify the worst would be if you go to a friend's house and they had Yoo-Hoo or Sunny D.
Yes,
Sunny Delight.
Sunny D would
Sunny
give
Delight.
heartburn.
That was chemicals before they listed everything that was on the chemical.
I'm pretty sure Sunny D might have been Agent Orange.
Yes, I
mixed
agree
with
with you.
sugar and tang, and sold to a mass of 80s moms and given to their kids.
Although the best one was the Mountain Dew. The real sugar Mountain Dew.
Mountain
Dew.
Yeah.
Still to this day. Every once in a while you get lucky. You go to Stop and Shop. You get the throwback, right?
It's got the cowboy on it, right?
With the real first character of it.
Yeah. You're right about that. I actually haven't drinking soda in like a year. But before I did, I picked up one of those real sugar ones, and they're not fucking around.
Yeah.
That's why you're going for the sours.
Yes.
I do miss Coca-Cola, though. I will say that does have a grab on you, man. You don't realize it, but I always loved Coke. I could not drink every other soda for the rest of my life. Every once in a while, I'll look at a bottle of Coke, and I feel like it's
Calling your name?
I feel like it's Bela Lugosi Dracula with the cape over the mouth and just like with that stare going, "Come to me."
More like Plan 9 from outer space.
Yeah. Oh, Chris, so I want to let's get back on to the beer. We always go on little tangents. We've been very good on this episode, though. We've been very good.
It's folks around College Street, at least.
Yeah.
Mountain Dew.
We can't say your favorite of the small companies because you're dealing with them. You got them coming in. Right. But here's a fair question: big old out there beers, Budweiser, Corona, things that are out there. What do you enjoy?
Honestly, I tell everybody this, and they don't believe me, but it's true. There's a place for every beer that's out there. And what I mean by that is Budweiser. I'm an avid fisherman, okay? I used to belong to Aquatic Yacht Club before it moved to New Haven. When it was in Bridgeport. And everybody said, why would you join a yacht club? You don't own a boat. And when I say yacht club, I'm talking Pequannock was like the best looking woman at the bar, had one tooth in her mouth. You know? So that's what kind of places. It was a fishing club, basically.
3 a.m.
Right, yeah, she's fine.
Yeah.
She'll do.
Yeah.
Sounds like Milner's.
But Budweiser has a place, and that place is on a fishing boat. You show up with a 30-pack of Budweiser, you will get on any boat to go fishing that you want,
Yeah.
So, and it's an easy drinking beer. So, yes, I do drink Budweiser. People are like, you drink Budweiser? Yeah. Corona. Kind of problem.
Not so much.
Kind of have a problem with that one.
See, I got to be honest. Corona is like my Budweiser. I'm not a beer connoisseur like I'll say John's a beer snob, I'm sure to an extent you're a beer snob too, because that's what you do, and that's fine. Even though you're saying
I'll take it. Even
though you're saying you'll do,
it's all about drinking good beer. That's
right.
all.
For me, if I'm gonna go to a bar and just get something fast and easy, I actually do like Corona. I don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's the lime, and
hopefully it's made.
Well, anything you have to put a fruit in to make it taste drinkable.
Well,
not an issue.
It's not only. It's just that the problem I have is if in fact it's brewed in Mexico. Well, you need water.
There's the urban legend. That's the reason why I stay away from Corona. All I can picture is a bunch of Mexicans sitting over the vat.
Somebody told me one time, I think it was an ex-girlfriend's father, told me that the whole reason for the lime, and this is just like unscientific bullshit, but when I was like 18, I was kind of like, that's interesting, is the lime, they would squeeze the lime in the Corona, and then the citrus juice in the lime would make the beer cloudy if there was urine in it. Which just sounds like Bill Nye the Science Guy would throw that theory through a fucking wall. But
you just made Corona down the bottom of the list now.
I've had worse though.
I have to. The worst beer I ever had was Moosehead. Absolute worst beer.
That's not about.
I think the worst I ever had was called back in when my buddy was in college and he used to have parties. I used to go down to the University of New Haven. There was one called Golden Anniversary. This was about $7 for a case at any of your locals, like 7-Elevens or places like that. It was fucking
That's like
gross.
on the red, white, and blue. Like $6 a case. Right?
Yeah, it was gross.
At the local bodega when you were under 18.
RWB when they started, they just didn't want to put red, white, and blue on the label.
Right.
It's just RWB,
right?
So you must have honestly, you have like a special card in your wallet that when you go into like liquor stores, you just hold it out and they're like, take your pick. Chris, take your pick.
I bypass all that. I wait for the breweries to come to me and give me, hey, try this, try that. That's beauty. When you're buying the beer, you have to sample and they have to bring you samples in order to get you interested to actually purchase.
Do you get ones that come and you're like, shit, I can't serve this?
Yeah.
So 60
is that because of percentage ABV or is that
drinkability?
Just drinkability.
Yeah. I mean, we can basically we watch everybody at both venues that I have something to do with. New Haven Center, College Street Music Hall, New Haven Center for Performing Arts takes it very, very serious. Yeah. Number one, takes it very serious because I happen to be the permittee down there, and absolutely will take it serious down there. And also, it's a not-for-profit, so this is something that you don't want to. You got to be very careful, So we watch everybody, and there's a very extensive regiment that security follows, and everybody knows what goes on. Like blue bands, it's under 25. You get carded every time you go up for a beer. You can only get one alcoholic beverage at the bars because you're more out to give your buddy who's 20. If you're 21, you're more out to give your buddy who's 20 that beer, as opposed to being 27. Your next friend is probably going to be 22, 23.
Right.
So there's a lot of thought going into it. Where we take it very, very serious down there, extremely serious.
So you have had a few of the newer local places come up and give you samples, and drinkability is just not there yet. Yeah, that's interesting.
I've been to those places.
we've had beers that were 18% on draft.
Yeah,
18%. That sounds like Tony.
Oh yeah, no, he'd love it.
We have a buddy Tony who's a guy I work with, and he's a good friend of ours, and we have game nights here every month or so. When Tony comes, everybody brings beer, and everybody brings this, that, the other thing. Tony doesn't bring anything less than 14 or 13.
Everybody has a friend like that.
that last, I forget what the Imperial Stout he
Dragon's
brought.
Milk, or was that him?
Well, Dragon's Milk I've had before. But
okay.
He brings something, it's one of those, was it the peanut butter chocolate stout or something like that?
The Purple Monkey dishwasher?
Maybe, something like that. Oh my God, that was like a sock and head.
I took one sip of my bottle. I was like, here, Tony, please. I got to go to work tomorrow.
I don't feel like potent.
I don't feel like pissing my pants in my sleep tonight.
Two Roads, I told you about this. I'm sure you've had it too. They're Igor Sikorsky.
Yes.
Oh,
that's a real solid freaking alcohol tasting beer. No question about it.
It's an easy drinking beer, but it's what, 14?
14, yeah.
Yeah,
You taste the alcohol. When you get up into to those
Yeah.
ranges, you can taste the alcohol. I don't care how smooth they are, you
Right.
can still taste it.
But,
See,
but
that's
for,
what I
for
like
that
about
one, I couldn't
beers.
believe how smooth it was. I mean,
It was. There's no question about it.
That's
Some are
sneaky-
smoother than others. Yeah, I like these people who like when the whole beer rage started. Pretty much started 10 years ago, probably
Yeah.
somewhere around there. Took a while after Carter made it legal to homebrew, and then the homebrewers started getting good. Then they opened up. Billy Beer. Yeah, Billy Beer. I guess his brother was such a freaking drunk. But so when it first started coming out, it was funny to watch these people and be like, I drink 8 Budweisers. Yeah, but you don't drink 8 of these beers. I can take anything. And then they sit there and they have 2 of them sitting at the bar. They get up to take their first piss and they fucking bang right on the ground. You're like, yep, that's about 10 Budweisers you just drank.
I learned about high ABV when I was about 21 years old. I went on a road trip with 2 buddies of mine to Montreal.
Oh, did you drink the Triple X?
Yeah.
Molson Triple X.
Yeah, that'll do it.
That's the one that
We ended up in a establishment. We ended up in an establishment called Club Super Sex.
Yeah, that's it.
Which my wife is listening right now. I know she's listening. It's a strip club. It is not a lady of the night club.
It's a
strip
nudie
club.
bar.
But we ended up at Club
Quarters
Super
in the
Sex.
Drawer comes up and
No.
The classy ones.
I traded my money in. We got there and we stayed from Friday night to I think a Monday morning.
turned in all your toonies.
I turned in all my American dollars for Canadian dollars. And what happens when you are an American who's never been to Canada before?
You found out you were a millionaire?
You give away all this green and you get back all this pink, purple, and coin it. There's no $5, or at least then there was no $5 bills. It's $5 coins.
Right.
The drunker you get, you start tipping with coins. And because you think in your head you're being cute and it's a quarter, it's $5 a shot. But there was 2 in particular. There was Triple X and there was another one called Molson Brodeur. I was so hammered. And I was just then the girls come by and I'm just like, oh, get us 4 more beers and take this pink bill. Take this pink bill. What is it? Who is that on your bill? Who is that? I don't know. Is that a Roddy Piper? I don't know who you...
Certainly isn't Grant.
This isn't any president I know of. You got some woman with a. Oh, is that a queen?
Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah, no, it's
God
absolutely
save the
insane. Canada, and Molson is Molson Triple X?
Yeah.
And my God, and then I think what is that? That was like 10 or something like that.
I forget what it was because I don't even know if they ship it over the border anymore.
I brought some home because a friend of mine wanted some, and I was able to bring that back over.
Yeah.
My buddy brought Cubans back, and he had to hide those. We actually got stopped. It was a whole thing. I'm like, fuck, we're going to go to Canadian jail. I don't know how to deal with Canadian jail.
Get out the car.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, they were like, could you guys step out? I'm like, holy shit, he's got Cuban cigars, and we're going to go to Canadian jail.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so, those high ABVs. Is there anyone in particular that you actually drink that you enjoy, or is that something you kind of stay away from?
I'll try. I mean, usually when they're the big heavy hitters, they're usually the one besides the 120 IPA for Dogfish Head 120, which I think is most of the time undrinkable.
I'd agree.
It's just anywhere from 18 to 24%, and it's just not my cup of tea, or my cup of beer, glass of beer, if you will. But the imperial stouts, like you were talking about, and when you get the heavier beers, because you're not going to be slamming 14 porters or stouts, you're going to be sort of enjoying them and sipping them, and and actually doing it for the taste. So that's when I'll sit down and I'll have one, because I'm not going to be drinking 8 of them.
Well, I put it this way. I say this all the time. My favorite beer I've yet to unseat it is Old Burnside's Dirty Penny. I love that beer, and it's an easy drinking darker beer, and it's only 4.5% to 5%.
Correct.
So then I'm at Stubborn Beauty one night, Conquistador, I think it was. It's a similar style beer, very tasty, but it's 9%.
There you go.
And as soon as you know it as you're drinking it, and I'm like, oh, this is so close to. And I look up at the board and I'm like, 9%? No way. I mean, I can't have 6 of these in a sitting. It just can't happen. Not without me talking out of my ears.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, you like the dark beer, so
I do.
That's I mean, I have one. I'll have one, and then I'll usually switch to a sour or something lighter session.
Well,
something because I get full on them.
right? Yeah, they're filling. But that's the thing about Dirty Penny; it doesn't fill me up as much. It's just the way the beer is styled. But again, at a festival, what I'll do is, just because I don't like the IPAs personally, or they don't like me really, but I'll drink them anyway, because as you go from booth to booth, it's like a palate cleanser.
Correct.
So you want to move to a different style of beer as you go. You can't just stick with one as you go, because you'll lose the flavor of everything.
Right, and that's the beauty of the brew fest. I mean, there's like a style of beer for everybody,
Right.
you know, and a lot of times the same brewery will bring 2 or 3 different styles.
Yeah.
So one brewery, you'll try 3 different styles of their beer.
Yeah.
It could be a porter, it could be an IPA, it could be a brown, you know.
Brown ales aren't my favorite, but I've found a few that are very good lately.
So is there
Gut browns are they got a distinctive flavor.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
is there anybody there that, like, is there any way to know? Do you have people that do the full gamut? Do you have people that go booth to booth to booth and try something?
You know, gotta help them.
You hit every single
Had
one?
one?
That's the whole idea, is to at least hit every single booth. Now, you might not have every beer, especially if, like,
No, but I'm saying
so like you
one
get to the
beer at every
Narragansett booth, and I'm like, well, I've had all their beers, but I'll drink one.
This is why I got that call that day. I'm now understanding.
By the way,
Now
I'm telling you, there was 50 plus breweries, so put
Yeah.
it together.
and understand, every time we go to this thing, I'm not the guy you got to watch out for. It's all the other guys.
Yeah,
When me and Brian are hauling people out, or we're looking for a missing guy for over an hour because he drank too much and he's over at the Owl Bar smoking.
I know you're clear. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's every year. I mean, I'm amazed every year. Like alcohol that's there, everybody is so respectful. Everybody's
Yeah.
so cool. I remember the first year we did it. You know, I was really worried about what was going to happen, and one of the breweries, they lined up all their bottles and cans behind them. They're empties, right? And there was like 6 cases of empties that fell over, and they started rolling, because if you see College Street, it's set up on you know, it's on a grade. So you go up, as you go up, so you can see over the next person in front of you's head. So it's actually done on a slant just for that reason. So they're all rolling down. Every person stopped to help start picking them up, you know, instead of like picking them up and throwing them and thinking,
Right.
you know what I mean? It was like nice to see. It was like, wow, this is actually a really cool. They're here to like really support the brewery. So
I'm trying to remember that. I think I remember that.
Yeah, it
And,
was
like,
just-
bottles were like being kicked
You're
around for a
right,
bit.
exactly. But nobody like kicked them down and put them away.
Because
It was crazy.
the last thing you want to do is
Roll
step on one of those and
yeah.
fall down those,
Yeah.
you know, anywhere in there.
Another
So
reason why we don't serve bottles of cans.
yeah,
in venues.
and again, I
was
mean,
gonna say, yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Bottles would be a nightmare.
Everything gets poured in cups at both venues. We don't serve anything with cups. And everybody who's listening, the reason why we don't put caps on the waters is an artist rider. They don't want to make it become a lethal weapon. You could throw it, and if you throw it at the artist with the cap off it, by the time it gets up to the stage, the water will be out of it and it won't be so heavy. So
That's interesting.
that's the reason why we do it. Yeah.
Do you now being part of the College Street? Now I know you're mostly directing in food and beer, right? Like that's your main.
No food there. That's
No-
the
no-
beauty
no
of my
food.
job is half my job is taken care of by it's not there.
So do you ever get to see, like, does anybody ever? This is a good question for the show. Does anybody ever share with you someone, like, the actual writers from some of these artists? Like, do you ever get to see stuff like that?
Oh
Like,
yeah, I see him. Well, at Space, my position at Space is a little different.
So
I
give
see
us. You don't have to give us names.
No,
but I want to hear some crazy shit that people put down.
Well, I wasn't privy to it, but somebody that I worked with, there was one particular artist that ordered M&Ms. And this is before I found out, by the way, that you can actually go to one of these candy stores and they actually have each flavor in a tube that you can get.
Yeah.
He wanted M&Ms with the green M&Ms taken out. There could be no green. And
That's an old Van Halen thing. Van Halen did that years ago. Yeah.
Somebody else did it, as a matter of fact. So, and I'm not going to mention
trying to be
any
Van
names.
Halen.
But then you find out that once you get into the business, you say that's the most ridiculous thing.
Nope. I know why.
Because the reason why, when the promoter or the tour manager looks and sees that you have the green M&Ms out of
Attention to detail.
he will stop looking at everything else.
Yep.
He
Right.
says, okay, they got the M&Ms, they got everything else, we can move on, we go on with the show, we're good.
I used to think that was crazy too, and then I read that,
Yeah,
that's the
once-
way business. That's the way they deem that. If you did that,
Yep.
that means I don't have to worry about this, that, or the other thing.
Correct.
There was one. There's actually a book out there. I wish I had the title of it. That is nothing but artist writers, and it had, like, I remember seeing the Foo Fighters one was like a double page spread, and they made their writer like a comic book strip, and it has like pictures. It's like no food like this, but food like this. So like it's like no like they don't want sandwiches, but they want like turkey, a plate of turkey with mashed potatoes and stuff.
Right.
And then no drinks like this, but drinks like this, and no snacks like this. And the whole book was like all writers. And again, it comes down to this is their way to check to make sure that you guys are doing your job.
Correct. And it's like the other day, the last week I think it was. There was one. Must have been an old writer that got sent, and there was like a particular drink on it that the poor girl that was doing the shopping for. They don't make it anymore. The actual style of beverage that they wanted was some kind of sparkling, clearly Canadian or something like that. And it was still on the old writer. They sent the wrong writer. This poor girl found it.
Wow.
She spent 3.5 hours finding this particular thing. Like, I found it. And I'm like, why would you waste your time?
She's on eBay looking for wild berry, clearly Canadian. It hasn't been made since 2001.
Exactly. And God only knows you don't want to drink it because it's from 2001.
She's like, holy shit, they're asking for Crystal Pepsi. I don't think that exists.
The beauty is like I don't deal with any of that. None of it. I have nothing to do with back of the house artists. I have front of the house. I have the beverage department, which is nice at College Street. So been backstage. I've been to the green room 3 times since the conception.
Right.
And I was one of the first people in there when the gentleman that put College Street together and made it actually come to life. My boss and I and him and a couple other people went in the stages of the negotiation stages, came in and looked, because there was no bar downstairs. That main bar is brand new. My boss and I designed that bar to function for that venue, beer cooler, the positioning, and all that stuff. I mean, there's a lot that goes in, as you can imagine. I mean, there's trunk lines, there's fob systems, there's beer systems, there's glycol systems. I mean, everything's got to be planned out. And so I was there from when it was a unofficial homeless shelter. There was the bums were still walking around, and
wow,
it smelled like a urinal in there. And I was walking around going, "What the hell am I getting myself?"
Well, I'll tell you, like I said, I've been there a few times. It does not smell like a urinal.
No, we did. The whole place.
Matter of fact,
it was the old Palace Theater, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
It was dark for I think 13 years, something like that.
Really?
Yeah, the last show I saw there at the Palace was the Radiators. That's right before they closed it down.
I can't even remember the last one I saw there. Probably one of those damn laser light shows.
Yeah, the laser lights.
I'll tell you.
Or Morton Downey Jr.
This is in no way, shape, or form a indictment of College Street Music Hall, because it's a fantastic venue. But I will tell you, to end that story about the Flaming Lips, so I went by myself. So the show ends probably about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. Right. Now I'm by myself leaving. I parked at a garage like 3 blocks away. I leave, I'm following the crowd out, and then I had to kind of like cross the street over and to get to where I was parked. I crossed the street over, I'm still with the crowd, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to take a shortcut. Instead of walking up this block, I'm going to walk across to get to my side. So it's about 11 o'clock at night. I walk into an alley. At 11 at night in New Haven.
No.
I get 3/4 of the way down the alley, and I suddenly realize that I'm in a fucking alley in New Haven. Which again, New Haven's a beautiful city, but like anywhere else, you don't always want to duck into places like that necessarily. And I remember thinking, this was the stupidest fucking thing I've ever done in my life, because there ain't no Batman. It ain't gonna be like someone's gonna be like, give me your wallet, and all of a sudden Batman's gonna come dropping out of the sky. I'm gonna get my fucking ass kicked, and I'm gonna lose my wallet. And I managed to get through to the other side, and when I got to the other side, I kind of met up with people walking, and I was like, and I remember I got home late, and the next day I told Lindsay that story, and of course she's like, what were you thinking? I'm like, honestly, I don't know. But I willingly walked down this big, I remember there was like between 2 big buildings, there's dumpsters, plenty of spots to hide. And
Got $1.
Yeah, so just make sure if you just be safe, that's all. But it was just a funny story. But that place is awesome, man. You guys are doing a great job down there. So why don't you give everybody out there all the information about your show website, because I'm going to put this episode out this coming up week, which means it'll be out for about 10 days before the show.
Perfect.
So hopefully anybody that hears it can go, wow, that show was awesome. Wow, Chris is a great guy. Wow, I love beer.
Beer.
Yeah, beer. And I want to go. and check this out. So
Come see the Pint of Comics
Come,
guy.
yeah, come see us. Give us all your information, where they can find the tickets, everything.
Well, the tickets can be found on collegestreetmusichall.com. You go on there, you click, it'll bring you to a link. It'll bring you to a page that'll actually, you can purchase them there. They will be available at the door, but you are taking a chance at the door for a sellout, and you don't want to be one of those people that gets turned away.
Remember, it's November in Connecticut. It's cold.
Exactly.
You want to get right in. You want
Exactly.
to get your ticket.
The
Get
VIP,
right in.
Yeah.
there's two types of tickets. You get the VIP ticket, which is limited, and then there is a general admission ticket, which gets you in an hour later than the VIP. VIP is an hour early in admission, and that's when the good beers, the samples, the Fuzzy Baby Ducks is there.
You get in an hour later, and you might miss some of the stuff that was because the pigs like us are going to be drinking all day.
Exactly, or I've started the night before. So it's November 17th, Saturday, November 17th. Like I said, it's all about the beer, and it's for a great charity. It's for a great cause. It really is. I mean, you want to keep the arts going. Arts is what keeps the glue of society together, in my opinion. I mean, it's just you need some kind of release, and it's a damn shame to see all the schools and any kind of any kind of organization that gets rid of the arts.
Right.
Arts is where it's at. I mean,
Beer for the arts.
and it is. It's fantastic, and it is an art form. I mean, it really is.
Oh, yeah.
Beer brewing is an art form, and it's nice. I've actually had a couple brewers, like home brewers, reach out to me, and it's too bad I can't really open it up to like home brewers.
Right.
But I'm
They
sure
have to have a license.
Right, I'm
Give
sure
them,
it's a
give them 2
fantastic
years,
beer.
they're going to own a place.
There you go.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
I mean, we're popping up on every corner. Every
We
street
had
corner.
on I don't know if they're going to be part of the show or not, but we had on the radio early
Five
this
churches.
winter 5 churches in New Britain, and these guys just kind of started, and now the place is blowing up. I mean, it doesn't take long.
See, like I said, I haven't even. I have to go through and confirm all the ones that I have. I still have them on emails that are coming in. There's so many of them, and it's like it's nice because I'm able to mix it up and I can stay away from the big conglomerates. Like I don't have to have it fill the spot with like a big incorporated beer,
Right.
like the big boys like Corona, and not like I said, there's nothing wrong with them, but
Right,
but this is a craft beer.
If you disappear tonight, we know what happened.
Exactly. Bev's out there.
Or as soon as I put this out.
We got you. The freaking bomb's gonna be coming through my mailbox tonight, sleeping.
Well, no, we'll see him. We'll see him somewhere like with a glazed over look, just selling like Coronas.
Corona Light.
Corona Light. This is really
Well, don't
delicious.
they have Corona Premiere now too?
Yeah, you know what's really funny about that? That's actually funny you bring that up. My dad is not really a beer drinker, but he'll buy a 6-pack of beer, put it in the fridge for the whole year.
Right.
Lit.
And he always tries. And he always tries. When I come over, yeah, John, you want a beer? We went to see my parents 2 weeks ago for dinner, and my dad's like, "What do you want? A water, beer?" And I'm like, "I'd rather. I hate fucking water. I'm gonna put it out there. If I don't want to drink water, if I don't have to." So I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll have a beer." So he brings me on a beer. It's a Corona, fine, whatever. And I'm drinking it, and in the middle of drinking it, I look at the bottle, and it says Corona Premier.
About the good stuff.
It's an extra $1.
So I'm holding it, and I realize this. I take a sip of it again now that I notice, and I said to my dad, I go, "Dude, Dad, what's up with this?" He goes, "What?" I go, "Well, this says Corona Premier," and he's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, it's either usually Corona, which is what you get a lot of times, or Corona Light, which is the light version." I said, "What makes this Premier?" And he's like, "I don't know. I just grabbed it because I thought it was Corona." And there's no discernible taste difference.
If it took you to actually look at the bottle to tell the difference.
Yeah, it's the same bottle, just with the word Premier stenciled underneath Corona.
And $3 more.
Yeah.
That was like the time I went out for dinner with Cliff to an Italian restaurant, and I ordered up one of the new Guinness ales that they had, the black ale or something like that, and they served it in a bottle. And I asked for a glass. Of course, I'm going to pour it myself. So I go to grab the bottle, and my whole hand goes around the bottle. And I look at it, and like,
Guinness Jr.?
no, they've shrunk all their bottles. They're no longer 12 ounces.
They're 11.2,
Yep.
14.4 for the tall boys.
If you can find them.
Right, exactly.
It's
true.
So I said, no more Guinness for me. I'm not buying anything that's less than 12 ounces. It's just
That's
stupid.
that European thing. It's a liters.
Yeah, really.
They play that milliliter thing way too much.
Give me a real English pint then. I mean,
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's odd.
I want my 20 ounces,
20
man.
ounces. Well, Guinness. that's funny for when you get Guinness draft. You know, you get the true Guinness pint is the 20-ounce Guinness pint. You know, it's you actually get to 20 ounces.
That's what you get at Celtic Tavern.
Yeah. No, I'm just not a Guinness fan. Again, as you said, it's a beer milkshake.
If it's poured right,
But actually, Guinness is a light beer.
it is.
I was
It's an
never a fan.
oxymoron, but it's a light beer.
I was never
It's
a
the
fan.
caloric content.
All right, so check Chris out. Make sure on the 17th, get your VIP tickets.
I recommend that.
Bring along a designated driver or get an Uber, do something along those lines. And besides that, check out College Street Music Hall. Check out bands and comedians.
A lot of good bands, a lot of good comedians. We've been voted best comedian, best venue, small venue. We've got all kinds of awards for how it's run. Got to tell you, it's run real professional. It's done by everybody from top to bottom. Is just like in the industry, knows what they're doing. It's pretty amazing to see that machine run. It really is.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for coming on
Thank you.
Pint O Comics.
Thank you for having me.
Hey,
man.
no problem.
Yeah, we like having these curveball shows.
It's nice to talk about beer for an hour.
Really.
I look forward to seeing both you guys.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
All three of you guys, actually.
Oh, yeah.
We'll take good care. But remember, only 1.5 ounces per
You know that. All right, this has been Pint of Comics. This has been Pint of Beer. John, what do we say when we go away?
Give me another.
See ya.